1,300 hours.
Unmuted and ready to go.
All right, good day, everybody. Don't have an agenda in front of me, but I'll make it up as we go.
I got minutes, approval of the agenda and the minutes.
Is anybody anything you want to add to the agenda today?
I'll
Okay,
move to approve the agenda.
thanks, Neil.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Gene. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries.
May 6th minutes.
The May 6th minutes, which have been Wednesday's minutes. You guys had a chance to read those over? They look good to me.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second them. Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes for May 6th. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, motion carries. All right, COVID-19. Sarah's not here yet. So, do you guys have any questions? Any just things you want to discuss on them? I was talking to Gene here a little bit ago, and I got some clarification in my own mind about this 27th of May. And are you guys all clear with that? Of the DOT issue, right? The 27th of May. I'll let Gene explain it to you, and I'll try to get a hold of Sarah, see where she's at.
So we were visiting a little bit about driver's license and motor vehicle transactions. And with the governor's proclamation right now ending on May 27th, our interpretation as treasurers is that on May 27th, any motor vehicle transactions that should have been done during the time of this proclamation have an additional 30 days to be processed. And driver's license, anything that should have been done during the time of during the time of this proclamation now has an additional 60 days to be transacted the last day of the proclamation. So we're working on scheduling right now, on an application for scheduling, so we could schedule driver's license transactions, and motor vehicle and property taxes, as far as we're concerned, can be continued to be processed the way they are now, through the mail, online, through the Dropbox, email. There's a lot of different ways to handle those. And if need be, through our office windows outside. So there's no need at this time for our office to open the doors to the courthouse and allow everyone in. That's where we're at right now. There's some details that would need to be worked out, but we're working on those.
So you're saying that everybody could do the drive-up window if they needed to?
Oh, that was never the case.
Was that a no? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
That's a no. That was never the case. There are certain guidelines and requirements that need to be met in order to do that. So it wasn't for all customers anyway. The ones that are going to need attention, as far as I'm concerned, are people that are trying to renew their driver's license so they can go back to work. Possibly a minor who wants to get a learner's permit so they can begin driving with their parents, so they're ready for driver's ed. Possibly a 16-year-old who wants to go to the next level of their driver's license. There's a time frame in there if they have any violations where now you can't move on to the next level. Get them taken care of while they're good to drive and move them up. Some of those things I think need attention right now. So we probably schedule those according to priority.
So when would you begin the scheduling those? Or when's the first time you're gonna have an appointment? Are you thinking?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I would be most comfortable we've got some bugs, of course, to work out. I wouldn't want to go with the full scheduling probably until June 1st for driver's license.
Okay, Steph, you said something to me this morning. Webster County is coming up online. Are they coming online Monday?
Correct. They're doing a full opening Monday. And then there are going to be some people that sit outside. They're going to take shifts sitting outside of the courthouse to take temperatures before they're allowed to come in. And obviously try to monitor how many people come in at once. So there's not an abundance. And I get, our courthouse, in reference to us personally, our courthouse is big, but the general public need to understand that it's just the hallway area that we have to keep people so far apart. So that eliminates a lot of space.
Yeah, we can't just use the whole square footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly that first floor, everything's done by the windows. So that eliminates a lot of square footage.
Neil, you got any thoughts?
I don't know. I think we probably need to have a tentative date to open the courthouse. I think it should be around June 1st, and we don't need to decide that today, but I think we should be looking ahead so that the people working at the courthouse have a target date.
Well, and I do too, and I think to make sure we have all the correct PPE that we need or want solved by then, and I think we're getting there. We get a few more loose ends to tie up. I think we want to also work probably with the city here. A lot of people get confused here. I don't know why, but it seems they do. And I think maybe there are other outlying cities we should coordinate with them a little bit too, to make sure that their city and county government is kind of working hand in hand, and give them a little bit of a little more of a comfort zone that we are here and we're here to help them. So,
What does the city of Carroll, what is their plans?
well, Steph is going to reach out to, I think Michael today or sometime in the near future, and kind of get what their feelings are. I was going to make a call down to the city managers and see what their thoughts are in Manning and Coon Rapids. We need to find somebody to visit with them in Burrito, see what they think, but maybe they're still open. I don't know that. But I know the utilities locked up tight down in Coon Rapids.
What was that about Coon Rapids?
The utility building is locked up tight down there, and that includes the city clerk. But I do want to visit with the city managers and the city clerks to find out what they are thinking.
Well, according to that meeting this morning, I think the only one that's really had a soft opening has been Manning. I think everybody else is still locked up yet, I think.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're opened up their municipality. I don't know, because that's not kind of all the same building anymore, so.
I am planning on opening the sheriff's office back up Friday the 15th. One person only at a time by appointment, and only for weapons permits and to get fingerprinted. They'll be escorted. They won't be allowed to go up the stairs. They'll have to come in the east door and get screened before they're allowed in. And they'll also have to have a mask on. The employees will have a mask on. And I'll let you know how that goes. I'm guessing we won't have very many takers on that, but we're going to put it out there. I know there's a lot of people that need fingerprints for different things, for jobs, adoption situations. So we're going to try to accommodate those people as best we can.
Hey, Dalton.
Yeah.
Can you send the link to Sarah, please?
Yeah, I already did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sitting in my outbox right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, and then some other things, and I visited with Gene about this, and I haven't had a chance to talk to many of the other department heads. Masks for the employees, I think we have some. My opinion is we're gonna kind of leave it up to the employee, whether they would like to wear a mask. Now, my question is do we want to leave it up to the general public about wearing a mask? We have some employees that have little ones or mates at home that have underlying issues, and I understand them not wanting to drag anything back of any kind. And I can understand them wanting to wear a mask, and I can also understand the ones that don't want to shouldn't have to. So, but about the general public coming in, if we're going to do a temperature, are we going to ask questions? Those are the nuts and bolts that we need to get figured out there too. How tight we want to run. And the thing is, the decision we're trying to make now could easily last us till Thanksgiving. And I'm not sure that that's something we want to continue for 3 months. We're trying to make decisions on too many unknowns, but we have to do the best we can.
Well, my thought on the mask, I think that we should probably have the public wear a mask when they come in. And I think it would be wise if the employee would wear one while they're dealing with the public, but they could take it off once the public stepped away from the counter. That's my thought.
Will the employees each have a plexiglass screen between them and the customer?
Everybody here in the courthouse on the auditor floor will have a sneeze guard. There will be one at Carrie's for the passports. Ken will not have one. They're not going to go through the hassle because they're going to get something new over here. They're just going to make adjustments in between. I've got to check in with conservation and the Freaky building yet to see where we're at with those.
I think the conservation building is intending to stay closed because obviously their office manager is now on a maternity leave. So.
Okay. I don't know. I think they got rid of their summer program that they would need to be open anyway. I think they've already ditched that. So it's just a matter of the concession part of it being open.
And I do think that's staying closed because that was on that state regulations that concession stands stay closed.
But if that does ease up, they'll have to adjust to that on the fly.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking in regards to the face of the mask is they probably don't need them if they have a plexiglass guard up. I don't think we need to use the Postal Service as an example, but they do have plexiglass and they're not wearing masks.
Okay. So, Sarah, you got any more chime in on that one a little bit? We're talking about employees, whether we should require them to leave it personal preference, and then we're also talking about the customers coming through the door, whether we require them or will the sneeze guards be enough?
So I think you have to leave it as personal preference. I haven't seen where anywhere except going to McFarland Clinic or the hospital it's required. You certainly put it out to the employees for the sign on several businesses in Carroll say, if our employees so choose to wear a mask at this time, they're allowed to. So any employee that wants to wear one, like Neil said, the plexiglass guards are there. So if the employee just centers themselves behind there, that's going to capture 98% of any of the
Droplets?
coming out of somebody's mouth. So we found hand sanitizer yesterday, so that's something that Carrie and I were having a hard thing finding, because we can get it in the gallons and you can get it in a big drum for refillable, but we couldn't find any of the small bottles. So we were able to find, now we bought 90 of the small bottles so that we can give one to employees that will be doing several of the transactions, and in between, even the Department of Health is saying, don't mess with the gloves, just mess with the hand sanitizer in between each transaction, and then just be conscious of washing your hands any opportunity you can get. And then, like with Jason's crew out at the conservation, we'll make sure that each individual person out at the campgrounds can have their own bottle of the hand sanitizer. And then we've got refillable hand sanitizer that we'll just pass out to refill those bottles that we are giving out to everybody. It was hard finding the actual little container, and we found those yesterday at Baumgart's.
Okay.
I'm going to touch on that just for 1 second. With our employees, I am all for using hand sanitizer, but we really, really need to stress when they get a break, they have to wash their hands.
Agreed.
We're just discussing, Sarah, and maybe you didn't hear this, the Webster County's opening clear up Monday.
Okay.
Their courthouse.
Yeah, I was listening to you. I just didn't have the link to join.
Okay. That's kind of, we were just discussing whether, Stephanie and I were talking earlier, is like, not sure about that one. That's a little quick, but I understand it. Okay. Sarah, I want to talk to you about when we get a confirmed case. Let me get my timing in my head a little bit better. When we get a confirmed case, that person was probably exposed 2 weeks prior, if not a little longer. Is that correct?
Yes, so the 6th person that was announced yesterday, she gave me the timeline on that person. And so in order to do the contact tracing, she had to go back all the way to April 30th. So if you can imagine today being May 8th, and she was calling that person on May 7th, then had that person make a list of contacts back to April 30th. The page was quite long, as that person was still working and had gone in and out of several different businesses and locations in that period of time. So there's no way of knowing when that person was exposed, or if it was the 11 days prior to, or the person got tested on Tuesday. The test results came back on Thursday. So the test results they are seeing this week are coming back much faster than we were seeing last week. But still, by the time they didn't feel good on Tuesday, stayed home from work, was tested Tuesday afternoon, test results came back on Thursday. Now you're going back an entire week for the contact tracing. So it's really impossible to try to shut it down as quickly as somebody doesn't start feeling good. So
It's not like it's the next day or two where you can adjust very quickly.
no.
Okay, as everybody knows, the campgrounds has restrictions. I think those are on the website. Stephanie covered that in our meeting this morning. I just want to make sure that the general public hears that now. There are guidelines, and they are very stringent guidelines, but we are moving a little bit forward. Maybe not far enough for some people, but it is moving forward. Anything else that you guys have that you want to visit about?
Dalton, is there a way you can post the guidelines and restrictions on our county website?
Sure can. Yeah. And that's what you need. We'll get it on there.
I think they're
Thank
on,
you.
they're on their Facebook, it's on the conservation Facebook page.
Yep.
So if you can snag it off of there. Great. Anytime you can do that, don't take the guidelines out in front of people as much as we can.
We'll get it ready today.
Thank you. Courtney, do you have anything else? Ken, you have nothing else?
Nope.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to,
So Rich, are we going to use June 1st as our tentative date now?
well, I'm okay with June 1st. I would have liked to look to 25th, but I fully get what everybody's saying here. It's actually it's 4 Mondays away, which is almost a month, but
Well, and, you know, I think even if we say June tentative to June 20 or June 1st, you know, if things do improve, we could still move that date up yet.
okay. Yeah, you know,
I think we need to have a tentative date out there. You know,
yeah,
like we've said all the while, this is a fluid situation.
yeah, and as I read this morning, and I've seen it a couple, 3 other times, and I just told you earlier, 75 or 80% of the population is going to get COVID-19. That's going to happen. Now, how much medical advancement we can make between now and you getting it, that's gravy. And like keeping the big surge out of the hospitals, which that's what it was designed to do, is to keep that load off their back. I think we've done a pretty good job with that. And I understand people wanting to get back out and getting going. But like I said, you can't run and hide from it forever, but I think we should attack this as smartly as we can. I've had several other county people reach out, different counties reach out and find what our plans were, and I told them June 1st. I thought that's about where the board was originally at, and I think that's probably where we should stay right now. Let's look at June 1st. If we can get it a week early, like we go for it. But I think I want to see some improvement in the numbers, and we'll go from there. That makes sense, Steph and Neil?
It makes sense, and even if we don't see an improvement in the numbers, at least by then, and even now compared to when it started, we're better prepared to handle people who do have the virus, you know.
One more thing, question for Sarah. I heard this morning on the coalition meeting that schools were maybe looking for PPE to get their school year started, depending on the guidelines that they're going to discuss later today and probably next week. Are we going to be in a position to help them, or do you think they can figure that on their own? Or are we going to have to keep this fund up and keep it going and try to buy more in bulk to help them out?
I don't think we need to buy any. We're going to be buying our PPE for EMS, the healthcare systems, if law enforcement needs anything, your county workers. But the PPE they've put basically back on every entity. And then that's why they're sharing that list that they have had luck with purchasing from. I exported the list and it was 164 pages because it wasn't set up correctly. They basically just put an email in an Excel spreadsheet line. So I did go through that and I narrowed it down to 4 pages that is on a PDF. I'm capturing all of the businesses that are requesting that PPE list. So if they send out additional names, I can just send that out to the group. So I'm having dentists contact me, hair salon people. So if it's going to be schools on that list too, we're basically all working off that same group of suppliers. No different than buying goods from Amazon, Walmart, Bars. So
I'm getting school orders now. And this is about the typical month we would do it. It's a couple weeks early just with schools not in school, but they're prepared. I mean, I just had an order from Storm Lake Schools for half a pallet of hand sanitizer. And we're about 4 weeks out, but you know, Sarah, you're right. We can't get the jugs. We can get the gallon refills. A lot of your schools already have the dispensers. We've already installed them, so they're fine. Another odd thing you're going to see coming up, we just had a manufacturer contact us and tell us that they cannot get trigger sprayers until September.
Yep. That's why we jumped on the Baumgars got in a shipment yesterday, and I went directly there and I bought the bottles so that we could have bottles and then we can backfill with the gallons.
Yep.
All right. Anything you want to add? All right. Keep the numbers low over the weekend. Do the best you can. You wish you had control over that, don't you?
I was surprised the numbers were as low as they were today.
I was too. And they're high, but they're a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
With the testing going on over in Crawford County this weekend, Monday's numbers or Tuesday's numbers, Monday they're a little quicker now, so they could be quite high.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. It sounds like quite a few people have already been tested, but with them opening it up to anybody, like they said this morning, if any of the essential workers in other surrounding counties, they weren't just specifically testing people at Smithfield. So it'll be interesting to see the turnout they get.
All right, very good. If nobody has anything else, I guess we'll just call it a quick meeting and get out of here.
I'll see everybody Monday.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Any other motion?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Everybody have a good one.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
All right.